The world is shifting, and right now, Canada is right at the center of it. Prime Minister Mark Carney just landed in Malaysia for the 2025 ASEAN Summit, but this wasn't just another diplomatic visit. What followed sent a message to every global power watching. A red carpet welcome, military honors, cameras flashing, smiles from world leaders. Asia's response was clear. Canada matters. For decades, Canada's role was defined by its closeness to just one country, the United States. But not anymore. Carney's arrival marks a turning point. This isn't symbolic, it's strategic. Canada is stepping into a new era of independence, relevance, and influence. Carney isn't in Malaysia for photo ops. He's here with a plan, a bold strategy to double Canada's exports outside the U.S. in the next 10 years. And while that sounds economics, it's really a geopolitical message. Canada will no longer depend on Washington to define its success. The boldest moment? Even with Donald Trump attending, there's no meeting scheduled between him and Carney. Not one. Why? Because Carney isn't chasing handshakes from Washington. He's building long-term partnerships in Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, and Seoul, where the future is being written. This summit isn't about old alliances. It's about Canada finally writing its own script.
Carney is attending the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit, looking to drum up investment into Canada. Earlier this week, Carney said Ottawa has a goal of doubling exports to markets outside the U.S. in the next decade, as Canada looks to diversify its markets. U.S. President Donald Trump is also set to attend the summit. The Prime Minister's office has said, though, there's no meeting set up between Trump and Carney.
Experts say half the battle is showing up. Mark Carney didn't just show up, he made a statement. This wasn't just about attending a summit. It was about reshaping Canada's identity on the world stage. No longer the quiet neighbor, no longer just north of America. Canada is stepping forward as a confident, independent global player. Carney's message to Asia was clear. Canada is here to stay, a reliable partner, a serious country with long-term vision. And that vision is built on something the world desperately needs right now, a rules-based global order. Not chaos, not coercion, just cooperation that works. And standing behind that message is one undeniable truth. Canada is not the United States. Its leadership, its diplomacy, its strategy, they all stand apart. Carney understands what others are missing. Asia is now the center of the global economy. Over half of the world's goods and services flow through this region. And if Canada wants to thrive for the next 50 years, it needs to be aligned with that momentum, not trailing behind it. This isn't just policy, it's positioning. And Carney is placing Canada right where the future is headed.
Well, it's interesting that you should mention it's the first trip because I think half the battle is showing up. I think there are a couple of key messages that the Prime Minister needs to send. The first is that Canada is a serious and reliable partner and that we're in for the long haul. But also that we are a firm believer in a rules-based international order. Frankly, that we're not the United States. And I think on the Canadian side, I think he needs to remind Canadians that Asia is the center of gravity of world trade. It accounts for over half of the world's service and merchandise trade. And Canada's prosperity is, in the long haul, is linked to Asia.
This summit isn't about pulling away from the U.S., it's about ending Canada's reliance on it. For decades, Canadian policy was shaped by what Washington wanted, not by what Ottawa needed. But Mark Carney, he's flipping that narrative. He sees the world as it is, not how it used to be. The next chapter of growth, innovation, and global trade is being written in Asia, and no amount of American pressure can stop that. So Carney's strategy is crystal clear. Stop waiting for U.S. approval. Start leading with Canadian ambition. In today's world, Canada's power won't come from being America's sidekick. It will come from being something far more important, a sovereign leader shaping its own future.
Yeah, I guess I would frame it slightly differently. I think we need to shift our perspective and recognize that Asia is incredibly important to Canada's economic future. And it can't be plan B or C. Asia has to be plan A. The next few decades are going to see a very strong economy in Asia, and there's not much the United States or President Trump can do to change that.
After Malaysia, Carney's next stops are Singapore and South Korea, each one a critical building block in Canada's new foreign and economic strategy. He's not bringing ultimatums, he's bringing opportunity. But Carney also knows opening the door is only the beginning. Now it's on Canadians, entrepreneurs, provinces, educators, and innovators to step through it. For decades, Canada looked west toward the U.S. and Europe. That era is ending. This pivot to Asia isn't just about trade. It's about shifting mindset. It's about building new supply chains, deeper educational ties, bold technological partnerships, and a new way of seeing the world. Because Asia is no longer the future. It's the present. So what does success really look like 5 years from now? Not just in GDP or exports, though they matter, but in people. When Canadian students are learning in Seoul, when Malaysian firms open shop in Vancouver, when towns across Canada attract Asian investment, that's the transformation Carney is building. Agreements take a day to sign, relationships take years to earn, and Carney knows this is just the start. The global reaction? Electric. Media across Asia call this summit a turning point for Canada. They see in Carney what's missing in so many Western leaders, a realist who listens, a strategist who builds trust. Canada isn't playing sidekick anymore. It's becoming the bridge between East and West, stability and ambition, tradition and the future. From Kuala Lumpur to Seoul, the message is spreading fast. Canada has moved on. The old image, quiet, cautious, predictable, is fading. What the world sees now is potential, purpose, and power. This trip, it's more than diplomacy. It's a declaration. Canada's time has come. The age of U.S. dependence is ending, and the era of Canadian leadership has begun. If you believe Canada deserves a stronger voice on the world stage, then this is just the beginning. We'll keep following Carney's bold moves and every shift that shapes Canada's future. So don't just watch history unfold, be part of it. Tap the subscribe button to join the growing community here at Canada Newsline, and hit like if you believe it's time the world heard Canada roar. Your voice matters, and together we make sure it's heard.